Hello everyone, welcome to your physics class of class 7th. I hope you all will be fine. Students, this is our first video after your second unit test, and in this video we will start a new lesson, lesson number 6. Okay, so let's begin our class. Lesson number 6, sound. So in this lesson we will study about sound. Now what is sound? Sound is a form of energy that produces the sensation of hearing in our ears. Means sound is also a form of energy which produces the sensation of hearing in our ears. Means because of which we can hear. Sound is produced due to vibrations. Means when a body vibrates, it produces sound, and or we can say sound is produced because of the production of vibrations. When a body vibrates, it produces sound. So before that, we will study about oscillatory motion. What is oscillatory motion? Oscillatory motion is a motion, the type of motion in which a body moves to and fro about its mean position, or we can say about its rest position. That is known as oscillatory motion. For example, the motion of the pendulum of the wall clock. This is oscillatory motion. The body from its rest moves to one side and then comes back to its, means when the pendulum moves, it moves to one side, then again comes to its rest position and then move to other side. This type of motion of the pendulum is known as oscillatory motion. The process of is then repeated again and again, and the oscillatory motion is repetitive at a regular interval of time. Now, oscillatory motion in which the body assumes a new shape during its motion is called vibratory motion. Means the oscillatory motion in which the body assumes a new shape during its motion, that is known as vibratory motion. In vibratory motion, a part of the body oscillates, keeping its other part fixed. Means a part is fixed and the other part oscillate. So that type of oscillation is known as vibration. Sound is produced when a body vibrates. For example, when you blow a whistle, the vibrations of particles in air produce sound. When we speak, our vocal cords vibrate to produce sound. Okay, and this can be felt by placing our hand on the throat. Means the vibration can be felt by placing our hand on the throat. Now, when a bell is struck, it vibrates and to produce sound. So from the above discussion, we can say that sound is produced by the vibrations in a body, and when a body stops vibrating, the sound produced by it also ceases. That is, no sound is then heard. Means sound is only heard when a body vibrates. As the body stops vibrating, the sound ceases. The production of sound by a vibrating body can be demonstrated by this following activity. As you can see here in this activity, a ruler is shown here in this picture, and one end of the ruler is fixed here, and the other end is vibrating. This other end of the ruler is vibrating here, and because of this to and fro motion of the ruler, a humming sound is heard, and after some time the ruler stops vibrating and no sound is then heard. This shows that humming sound is produced only because of the vibrations of the ruler. Means as when the ruler vibrates, it produces sound, and when it stops, the sound ceases. Okay, same way you can see in this activity, this rubber band is shown here. So while this rubber band is stretched with this hand, and if we move this rubber band from the middle, it starts vibrating and a sound is heard. But as soon as this vibration stops, and the sound ceases. Okay, so we can say that sound is only heard when a body vibrates. Okay, here in this activity 3, you can see here a drum when beaten this produces sound. Why this drum when it gets beaten by the stick produces sound? Because of the vibrations that is produced in this membrane. The skin of the drum when vibrates produces sound. Okay, same way This rubber string, when this rubber string moves to and fro from its mean position, means it starts vibrating and then it produces sound. Okay, so these are the activities which show that when a body vibrates, it produces sound. Now, what are the sources of sound? First one is tuning fork. A tuning fork, as you can see here in this picture, is a U-shaped metallic piece with a stem in the middle as shown in this figure. Okay, its arms are known as prongs and they are set into vibrations when either of the two prongs is struck gently on a rubber pad and sound is produced. When means when these prongs are stuck on a rubber pad, they start vibrating and because of that vibration, sound is produced. Okay. Second, musical instruments. All musical instruments produce sound due to vibrations. The musical instruments such as whistle, flute, clarinet, which are in the form of pipes, produce sound when air is blown into them. All these instruments are produce sound when air is blown into them, and they produces sound. Means we can only hear the sound when we blow air in these instruments, musical instrument that is in the form of pipes, and the air that is inside this, that vibrates, and that air produces, the column of air inside them vibrates and produces sound. The musical instruments like harmonium and mouth organ contain metal reeds and they produce sound when air is blown through them. And the musical instruments such as sitar, guitar, piano, violin have strings stretched on them, as you can see here in this picture. And also you know this, that guitar, piano and violin, these have strings stretched on them, and in a sitar or guitar, the string is plugged. In a piano, the string is struck and it produces sound. Okay, and a bow is drawn across the string to make the string vibrate. And when these strings vibrate of these musical instruments, they produces sound. And also, as we have seen earlier, that these drums produces sound when we strike on the skin of these drums, then the skin vibrates, the membrane that is which is stretched on these musical instruments, that leather membrane start vibrating and it produces sound. Okay, so these are about the musical instruments. Now we human beings produce sound when our vocal cords vibrate on blowing air through them by our lungs. Means we human beings can produce sound, means we can speak only when the vocal cords vibrate. When our vocal cords vibrate, when they vibrate on blowing air through them by our lungs. Our throat has a larynx. The voice is produced in the larynx, as you can see here in this picture. Our throat has a larynx, and when the voice is produced in the larynx is also called the voice box. And because voice is produced through the larynx, produced in larynx, that's why that is also known as voice box. It is designed to produce voice. It is a box-like structure with walls of tough tissues, and inside 2 folds of the tissue there is a gap, and there are the vocal cords. And in this gap there are the vocal cord. And when we breathe, the vocal cords become loose, and the gap between them increases. And when we talk, shout, or sing, the cords become tight, and they vibrate and produces sound. Okay, so that this is how we produce sound. We human beings produce sound. Okay, so these are the sources of sound. Okay, so now what you have to do, you have to read this lesson up to here. All the what is sound, then oscillatory motion, vibratory motion, and sources of sound. This all you have to, and also the characteristics of sound. This all you have to read this lesson up to here, and it will be more clear to you. And further explanation of the lesson we will continue in our next video. Okay, thank you.